Hi, I'm Dr. Danielle Conway. I'm a clinical veterinary nutritionist, and one of the most common questions I'm asked is, are whole foods better than synthetic nutrients? Should I not be giving my pet synthetic vitamins in their dog food? And while that may sound logical, it sounds natural, it sounds like something that should be true because it's a logical fallacy. So it's making something overly simple to bypass circuitry in your brain. The problem is biology doesn't actually work that way. When animals absorb nutrients, their cells are not asking where that molecule came from. They're not asking if the vitamin D came from spinach, liver, or laboratory. Cells interact with chemical structures. A really helpful way to understand how this actually comes into play is in dermatology or skincare. If someone wants to reduce wrinkles, a dermatologist doesn't tell them to smear potato all over their face as a mask. Sweet potatoes contain beta-carotene, which is a precursor to vitamin A, a precursor. But your body has to convert that molecule, that beta-carotene, into active forms like retinol or retinoic acid before it can actually affect the skin cells. That conversion step is effective and variable. It's inefficient. So dermatologists skip the middleman and they go right to retinol in their most powerful and most beneficial forms. Nutrition works the same way. A vitamin or mineral is defined by its chemical structure and biological function, not by whether it came from a carrot or a laboratory. Taurine's taurine. Vitamin D3 is vitamin D3. Calcium carbonate's calcium carbonate. When veterinary nutritionists formulate diets, we often use supplementation, because it allows for us to precisely control nutrient levels and prevent deficiencies. Now, this doesn't mean that whole foods are unimportant. Whole food ingredients bring things isolated nutrients often don't. Fiber, phytonutrients, complex nutrient interactions, microbiome support. These are incredibly valuable components of nutrition, but whole food doesn't automatically mean better in every situation. Also, food can vary depending on where it's grown, and it can affect the nutrient availability. So sweet potato from one area doesn't necessarily have the same vitamin A as sweet potato from another. Another great example is phosphorus. Not all phosphorus behaves the same way in the body. Phosphorus that naturally occurs in meat and tissues is typically bound with proteins and other structures. It takes digestion to release it. But inorganic phosphorus or phosphate additives, like sodium phosphate or phosphoric acid, they're extremely soluble and highly bioavailable. They can get absorbed very quickly. When we apply that to senior pets, for our older pets, especially those with aging kidneys, many veterinary nutritionists try to limit absorbable inorganic phosphorus additives because those rapidly increased phosphorus can stimulate hormone responses that are associated with kidney stress. So in a senior animal, the form of phosphorus really matters. For a younger animal, that's fine. And if we flip that situation, if I have a young animal who's recovering from an illness, rebuilding blood cells, or needing rapid nutrient replenishment, a diet where nutrients are readily available can be very beneficial. Same patient, different patient, same nutrient, different nutritional strategy. Now, if we wanted to add a fun example to this, if you're an ACOTAR reader, and Sarah J. Maas just announced that she's going to come out with the next 2 books in the series, let's think of it this way. Arguing about whether whole food versus synthetic is like arguing whether someone belongs in the night court or the day court without looking at the actual mission. The real question isn't the label. It's about what the body needs at that moment. Nutrition isn't about ideological purity. It's not about values. It's about physiology. The goal is always the same. Match the right nutrient forms and amounts to the biology of the animal in front of us. So the next time a pet food company or influencer claims that their food or a natural style of feeding will help your pet live longer, or you should be afraid of other forms of feeding, ask them this simple question. If longevity is the goal, why aren't they formulating specifically for aging physiology? Because that's something we actually have data on. I hope this was helpful, and happy feeding. When we make decisions with information and not fear, both our pets and ourselves benefit.